So I will introduce the Ajahn who give the Dhamma talk first. His name is Tan Ajahn Karin, Dhamma Viro. He's been ordained for 30 years, 30 vasa. He's currently the abbot of Wat Pa Wang Pu Thong Forest Monastery, which is in Wang Nam Kieu district in Nakhon Ratchasima province. So now is the time to listen to the Dhamma. In the beginning, Venerable Nongpa Anan gave me the chance to come here and give encouragement to all of you, which is a very good sign. Even though I have been ordained for quite some time, but I still need a lot to practice on. And we all need to practice. Even all of you, you can practice and you can see the Dhamma also. What we need to practice is just follow what Venerable Ajahn Chah have laid out and what Venerable Ajahn Anan have followed and laid out as well. This is called the heritage of the Dhamma. So you can see that the Nampapong monastery has a lot of branches all over the world. This is compared to the jewels that shine the light on good people who want to follow the path of the Buddha. So what we need to follow is the rules that have been laid out, the precepts. So every year, if I don't have any duties, I have been bringing the Sangha of my monastery to come and pay respect to Longpa Anan. But for the past few years, as you can see, the worldly events has been uncertain. But what should be certain is your conduct, your practice, your determination. Because just for once to see and to listen to the Dhamma of the Kruba Ajahn, it just lifts up your spirit in the practice, which is very hard to find these days. All of you, as a lay people, you have to deal with the worldly issues, whether you're young or old, but you can deal with those issues with the teaching of Buddhism. So Longpa Anan asked me to tell you a little bit about my practice since my ordination until now. I was born in Bangkok and ordained in the Buddhist year 2536, also in Bangkok. And I have made the determination that by being born as a human, I want to follow the path of goodness to the end in the Buddha Sasana. Even this is hard for the regular crowd. But it is not hard for those who have cultivate a lot of parami. In the society, there are many kind of people. Some are good, some are bad. They are all different. They have different views, which we cannot change easily. But what we can change is our view, our faith in Buddhism. So all of you should practice according to the morality, to the Dhamma, and have patient endurance. When I was a young monk, as a 10 Vasa monk, I want to practice even more. And at the time, I was at Nampapong monastery, and I was given the duty of taking care of the theras who come for the meeting every year. So I have the chance to see the practice of many Kruba Ajahn of the Nampapong tradition, including Anan. Many of them have success in their practice, and they have metta to spread their teaching, their experience. Even now, I still think that I am a few vasa compared to all the Kruba Ajahn. Many of the theras, they have a harder life than what we have. They can be compared to a gold, which is a precious metal. Because one of the Arya Pukkala, they can shine the light to the world. At the time when I was at Nampapong, as a person coming from the central part of Thailand, there were 3 Kruba Ajahns that I looked up to, that I try to talk to them as much as possible because of the communication. In Nampapong, the spoken language is Isan, which is the northeastern dialect, which I couldn't really understand, even though now I am a lot better at it. So by being close to all these Kruba Ajahns, I made a determination to practice hard, to see the example of Luangพ่อดำรง Luangพ่อโสพล Luangพ่อประสบชัย Luangพ่ออัครเดช and Luangพ่อ Anan as an example. Usually every year, Luangพ่อ Anan go to Nampapong every year. And I remember one time I had a chance to go to another country, and I got a flashlight and I offered it to Luangพ่อ Anan. And it was just a small flashlight, but before I offered to him, I think this is very precious. I want to offer it to him, and may the light of Dhamma shine on me. So nowadays, I still remember the feeling. When I walk out from the kuti, the hut that Anan was staying, I saw a white light, which is the light from that flashlight. Anan turned on the light for me to see that he's using it. So this was 20 years ago, and I still remember it clearly. So the light of the Dhamma that he shined on me on that day, now it's not just shining in this monastery or in Nampapong, but it has shown in many other countries. What is shining is the Dhamma of the Buddha, the heritage of Dhamma. It can be compared to a big lantern. And the light will shine on those who have wholesome mind, wholesome heart, and who are determined to do good in their life. So we use our body and mind to sit, to walk, to meditate, and to cultivate mindfulness. Maybe in the past you have been practicing for some, but now, this time in this meditation retreat, you should make it more determined to practice harder. So this is a good chance, so you shouldn't lose it. You can do it in the beginning by keeping the mantra Bhutto, Bhutto, which is the name of the Buddha. Or you can just observe your breath. This is different according to each person. You can use Bhutto, Dhammo, or Sangho. This is what everyone in the Buddha Sasana should recollect. We recollect to warn ourselves that we, being born as human, we will eventually have to die. But in this life, we will not do unwholesome things. And we recollect to realize that Nirvana is not something that is untouchable. We as humans can reach Nirvana by our action. So we have to do this in accordance to the rules of the monastery, the Vinaya. Just like the monks who ordain in the Nampapong tradition, we ordain in order to better ourselves, better our mind, as much as possible. When I first ordained, I was staying in Bangkok in the temple, in the city temple. But I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of determination to be a good monk. I was very determined and I was very humble. So many of the Theras have a lot of metta to me. But that was not enough for me. I want to practice more. I want to be able to lessen my aramana, my feelings, my emotions, the unwholesome feelings. And because as you know, in the city temples, we have to deal with a lot of people. Yeah. So when I was in that temple, I have to have a lot of patient endurance. And I wanted to find a place where I can practice peacefully. And after a time, maybe because of my past wholesome karma, the light of the Dhamma shine on me by way of a Thera from Wat Pak Nam, introduced me to Nampapong tradition. So on my third vasa, I went to Wat Nampapong and I met Luang Por Liam, the current abbot of Wat Nampapong. When I went there the first time, coming from the city, I was quite scared. The water, the drinking water there, come from rainwater, but I was afraid to drink it because I was afraid it's dirty. But actually, the rainwater at Nampapong is very pure. It's actually been proven to be purer than the brand bottled water. So at that time, I have to practice a lot of patience endurance, which turned out to be very important in the practice in general. Because as a monk, the word monk in Thai is pra, which means a noble one. So being called pra or noble one, I want to conduct myself as best as possible to be worthy to be called a noble one. All of you, even though you do not ordain, whether you're male or female, you can ordain your mind. You can be ordained on the inside by following the teaching of the Kruba Ajahn. So these teachings, these rules that's been laid out is because of the loving kindness of Luang Pu Sha and Luang Por Liam and Luang Por Anan, who have keep this practice going for a long time. So all of you should be certain in your heart that you can better yourself in this life. Because the Dhamma that the Kruba Ajahn practice, and they have realized, this is something special. It can change, it can purify the normal bone, the normal skeleton into relics. This is something that is very special. So after a time at Wat Nampapong, I was offered a piece of land in Wang Nam Kiao, and I have established a monastery. But building a monastery cannot be compared to building goodness within yourself. The monastery is just a place that offers comfort to the practice. At this monastery, Luang Por Anan was very kind to visit there once. And I can see that Luang Por Anan has a lot of loving kindness to all of his disciples, however far they are. Even now, when I look back at old photos of the time that he visited, and I see the monks that went with him, the monks that was here, the monks that were here who practiced under Luang Por Anan, many of them have prospered. It can be compared to the branches of the Bodhi tree. And the Bodhi tree may be compared to Wat Nampapong or Luang Pu Sha. And Luang Por Anan is one of the big branches, the earlier branches. And from him, many of the leaves, the small branches, also prosper. Back when I was at Nampapong 20 years ago, there were only about 100 branches of Nampapong Sakha, the Nampapong branches. But now there's over 300 branches all over the world. The Nampapong tradition is able to prosper because it was we practice according to the Dhamma. So all of you have a lot of parami to be able to come here, to be close to Kruba Ajahn, to Luang Por Anan. I come here today and I brought with me the monks who are staying with me for the Vasa to pay respect to Luang Por Anan, because just by paying respect to him is a lot of merits. There are many monks. There are many good monks, but the real monks, the Arya Pukala, they are hard to find. So it is up to each person to find what is best. And I anumodana with all of you. When I see you here like this, I think of my parents. I wish that my parents can be here to practice under Luang Por Anan, just as you are doing. And I would like to give encouragement to all of you to practice hard and to have patient endurance, and you will achieve success in the practice. As the Buddha has laid out the Dhamma for all of us for over 2,500 years, all we have to do is follow the footsteps of the Buddha and the Kruba Ajahn, and we will eventually realize the Dhamma.